Hello and welcome to the weekend edition of National Focus. I am Shakira Peer. In the headlines, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Reginald Austri, says negotiations are concluded for over 100 landowners for the construction of the international airport. Honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow describes the 2020-2021 budget as a budget of hope and optimism, and Rosa MP reaffirms her commitment to her constituents. Details of the headline stories and more when we return. Welcome back. Negotiations with landowners have concluded, says Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Reginald Austri. These negotiations were held as the government continues to prepare for the construction of the international airport. During his contribution to the 2020-2021 budget debate, the senior minister stated that the government held and concluded negotiations with over 100 citizens.
We have concluded negotiations with 196 landowners. 25 of them have been approved. Crop compensation, we're now looking to pay from $300,000 in crop compensation. And also the Kalinago territory, Mr. Speaker, where we'll be paying the farmers $115,000 crop compensation and $1.7 million for their lands. The important thing about that, Mr. Speaker, is that will be money which will be circulated in the economy, in the local economy. Also over pretty close to $2 million under the DVIB project. Apart from getting a road, the residents, which is almost everybody in Caribbean territory, will be getting some money, and you can see some improvement in the life.
Minister Austri commended the Land and Surveys Division for their hard work in keeping up with the numerous ongoing projects.
In that vein, I would really love to thank, Mr. Speaker, our Land and Surveys Division and our Valuation Unit. They have been on the road, Mr. Speaker. No sooner do they brief from one project, they have to move from the constituency of Dennis Charles, where we survey land and valuing land for the health center and the homes in Scott's Head and Point Michel. They have to run back to the airport site to work, and they have to run to Ansdime to do the evaluation for the health center for Ansdime, and then they have to run to Point Michel to do the surveys and evaluation for Point Michel and for the health center in Soufriere. So, I mean, these guys are constantly moving from one end of the country to the other end of the country, trying to get all those projects tied up so we can see some real changes in the fortunes of our country.
Minister for State in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for telecommunications and broadcasting, Senator Honorable Oscar George, says the 2020-2021 national budget has allocated $165,000 to develop the Information Communication Technology ICT Centre of Excellence at the Dominica State College.
In keeping with government's policy to develop the telecommunication and information technology sector, government, in collaboration with the government of India, will be restoring and upgrading all services at the ICT Centre of Excellence at the Dominica State College. The center will be further upgraded with modern state-of-the-art equipment to facilitate expansion of services to rural communities where satellite center has been established. Full commitment have been received from the Indian government to recommence operations and resume an aggressive push to develop our ICT talent. Mr. Speaker, $165,000 is allocated in this year's budget to rehabilitate and resume operations at the center.
Minister George says government will equip 6 additional smart centers across the island.
Mr. Speaker, government continues to cater for young talent through initiatives such as the development of rural centers, which will complement schools where students and teachers and persons who require access to learning can be accommodated. In addition to the work undertaken at the Grand 4 and La Plaine Smart Centers, government intends to furnish 6 additional smart centers, which will be built in the following locations: the Northeast Comprehensive School, the Casibro Secondary School, the Kalinago Territory, the Portsmouth Secondary School, the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School, and the Grand Bay Secondary School. 500,000 is allocated in this year's budget for that specific purpose.
Meantime, work has been ongoing to increase resilient infrastructures within the telecommunications sector to ensure that Dominica's systems are able to withstand another natural disaster.
Mr. Speaker, this government continues to enhance its post-disaster telecommunications mechanisms. We have successfully increased resilient infrastructure, which includes the running of fiber underground, which has many advantages as it pertains to disaster recovery. The vulnerability of the telecommunications sector is visible following Hurricane Maria, when the sector experienced a total of $128.8 million in total damages. So emergency telecommunication systems, such as the use of VSATs or amateur radio systems, are considered the backbone of our post-disaster response and a significant component of making this sector more resilient. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, this government has installed 20 VSATs across Dominica, and an allocation of $200,000 has been made available in this year's budget to procure backup generators to ensure a greater level of infrastructural resilience.
Minister George says in collaboration with the International Telecommunications Union, ITU, government has installed a radio messaging system.
I am pleased to report to this Honorable House that in collaboration with the International Telecommunications Union, government has provided another layer of communications resilience. This is through the installation and deployment of a standalone radio messaging system. This network was officially launched on Friday, June 19, 2020 by the Government of Dominica, with assistance from the technical radio experts at the ITU in conjunction with the engineering staff of the Ministry of Telecommunications. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the government and people of Dominica, I wish to take this opportunity to place on official record government's gratitude to the ITU for partnering with us to develop such an important network in such a critical time.
A community Wi-Fi network for post-disaster response was also installed in 3 areas across the island.
Government has also developed an innovative community Wi-Fi network for post-disaster response in coordination with the UNDP and the ODM. This network was officially built and installed in 3 areas: Good Hope, Belleville Chope, and the ODM. We undertook a pilot where we used satellite-based services to provide Wi-Fi services. From all reports, that went well, and we are now in the monitoring and evaluation phase where we'll make a decision as to how we proceed with this network.
Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Business and Diaspora Relations and Member of Parliament for the Petit Savan constituency, Honorable Dr. Kenneth Daru, described the 2020-2021 budget as a budget of hope and optimism. This budget, he says, puts Dominica in a suitable position to work towards the continued development of the country, as this will assist in the establishment of diplomatic relations with several countries. Dominica currently maintains diplomatic relations with 129 countries. The Foreign Affairs Minister says Dominica has maintained good relations with countries such as the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, the Republic of Cuba, the People's Republic of China, and the United Kingdom. Minister Daru spoke of Venezuela's contribution to Dominica's development.
And even during this trying time, there's the COVID-19 pandemic, and we all know that Venezuela, they're going through they have their own internal issues, Mr. Speaker. But in spite of that, they're valuing the friendship and the support that we've given them in many an arena, Mr. Speaker, many a forum, that they, in spite of the internal challenges, Mr. Speaker, the economic and blockade and put against them by the USA, which have really hindered the entrance of foreign currency into the country, Mr. Speaker, they still, whatever little that they have reached out to us, Mr. Speaker, by way of, I think, PCR testing and other equipment to help us fight COVID-19, Mr. Speaker. And I think this is commendable.
The Foreign Affairs Minister highlighted some of the key areas Cuba has assisted Dominica, specifically in the education sector, giving many Dominicans the opportunity to earn a degree.
I am a proud product, and I say that everywhere I go. I'm a proud product of the Cuban Scholarship Program. And I'm not sure, I mean, I remember, you know, Mr. Speaker, we've been classmates. I've always wanted to be nothing else but a medical doctor my whole life. And I'm not sure where else my poor primary school teacher father would cough up, you know, some $100,000 or $200,000 that is right now needed to pursue a medical degree anywhere in the world, Mr. Speaker. I mean, just as the Ross students, most of the students after obtaining the MD would be left with loans of $200,000, $300,000 US. You with me, Mr. Speaker? So I'm a proud product of the whole Cuban scholarship, and Cuba has shown that despite the 50 or so years of economic blockade against them, in spite of going through what they call a period especial, where they had to go through some serious austerity measures. I think that was the period where I studied in Cuba, Mr. Speaker, that they continue, they have never stopped, neither reduced nor stopped offering scholarships to countries like ours.
Each of these countries in its own unique way has assisted Dominica over the years. The government of the People's Republic of China has assisted Dominica in many areas such as education, infrastructure, human resource, among others. Minister Daru says China is a true friend to Dominica, and Dominica continues to stand in solidarity with the Republic.
What can we not say about the relationship with the People's Republic of China? One that is pretty young, much younger than our relationship with the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela and the People's Republic of China, but one that has yielded so much mutual benefit in the short space of time. I think over the past 16 years or so, we are celebrating our 16th anniversary. The People's Republic of China, Mr. Speaker, they've done so much for us in this little space of time. And I think it was the Minister Grant, the Minister for Agriculture, who spoke to our solid stance, Mr. Speaker. I think the Prime Minister have advised that we don't negotiate principle. We don't negotiate principle, Mr. Speaker. I mean, you can negotiate a treaty and whatever document you have signed, words, but you don't negotiate principle. And we want to reassure the People's Republic of China that they have our unwavering support towards the One China policy.
Minister Daru says while Dominica intends on maintaining diplomatic relations with these countries, government continues to aggressively pursue alliances with new states.
One of the areas that we're looking at is the African continent, and of course we know that the historical linkage between the African continent and the Caribbean islands, and we feel that somehow we have not done enough to establish formal relationship. So this is an area, of course, we're looking at. In fact, even at the regional level, I think CARICOM is looking to have already set up some embassy in Kenya to serve the CARICOM countries. But we're hoping that at a bilateral level that we can increase our relationship with the African continent, Mr. Speaker. We think that there's a lot that can be derived from the relationship with some of the countries. Recently, we saw the establishment of an embassy in the United Arab Emirates, Mr. Speaker. And these have already begun bearing fruits as we are in discussion with the government of the UAE, who are interested in funding a modern library facility for Dominica, Mr. Speaker.
The Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment, Youth at Risk, Gender Affairs, Senior Security, and Dominicans with Disabilities continues to provide efficient and effective services geared towards the empowerment of Dominicans in their quest to achieve a dynamic Dominica. Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment, Youth at Risk, Gender Affairs, Senior Security, and Dominicans with Disabilities, Honorable Dr. Addis King, is passionate about the plans for her ministry.
The plans for the Youth Development Division going forward includes provision of training for over 300 young men and women, to include inmates at the Dominica State Prison in various skills modules, to include computer literacy, garment manufacturing, pedicure, manicure, construction, carpentry, tiling, plumbing, electrical wiring, auto mechanics, hospitality arts, fishing, sewing machine repair, computer maintenance, agriculture and livestock training, and small engine repairs. Weekly sessions will also be held with all participants in the skills training modules to include social skills, business awareness, office etiquette, health and family life education, youth empowerment forums, remedial literacy and numeracy sessions. We will also conduct multidisciplinary leadership courses to include counseling courses, community-based leadership training, and for targeted district as well as school-based leadership training. We will continue to recruit and train, and we have targeted 240 young volunteers island-wide. We will also form at least one environmental club in every district and engage 10 senior and 54 junior 4-H clubs.
Minister King says that the Dominica Youth Business Trust will continue to focus on small business development with a holistic development approach.
A successful community entrepreneurial training was held for 35 in the community of Grand Bay. Among other training sessions conducted by DYBT were sales and marketing, customer care, public speaking, art of design fashion business workshop, training of trainers in collaboration with UE and IOM. During the same period, 5 loans were guaranteed by DYBT and funds have been disbursed.
Member of Parliament for the Rosa Central constituency, Honorable Melissa Popon-Skerrit, says she has stuck with her constituents throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Honorable Skerrit says she's happy to serve the people of the Rosa Central constituency and has provided her constituents with care packages during this pandemic.
During the pandemic, we focused mainly on providing families with packages. And we distributed packages to every household in Roseau, and this included agricultural produce, food items, even fresh fish. So this is an initiative that went on for quite a few months.
The Member of Parliament says young people and children in her constituency will be provided with electronic devices thanks to the government of Dominica.
This month, you will see that our college students and our high school students will receive free laptops thanks to the government for this initiative. I know that the students heard about it and they are very excited as it will aid in helping them to do their research, and as we go into Zoom online classes right now. Really, there are a lot of exciting programs and initiatives for Rosa Central.
High on the cards for government is housing in the Rosa Central constituency. Government has plans to construct apartments for the Rosa constituents. The land has already been identified in pound and work should commence shortly.
With this program, multiple people are employed under the housing program. You will start to see the transformation of Rosa, because as we develop residential Roseau, we are also developing commercial Roseau. And with commercial Roseau, you've seen lately we gave out the 16 keys for the 16 kiosks, 10 on the Rosa River Promenade and 6 on Charles Avenue. And so this is 16 new entrepreneurs who will start a brand new business. We also have the free public restrooms, the first set you will see on the River Promenade. And this is something that we are going to further develop, having public restrooms in strategic locations across Roseau, by the bus stops, maybe along the Carnival route. And so it will be a lot easier for mothers who come from the country areas with children, or pregnant mothers who come to the road to town for the day. They know that they would have access to a restroom facility.
Honorable Skerrit says the Roseau Enhancement Program will make doing business in the city much easier. This in turn will encourage more small and medium-sized businesses in the city. The Member of Parliament says she is grateful to the government of Dominica for making money available at the Aid Bank for entrepreneurs.
One of the main issues that small business owners face is the access to financing. And this is a major challenge, and this is why this government have been able to put this program in place or set aside 30 million towards small business owners at a very low rate of 1%, which I've never seen in anywhere else in the Caribbean. So this is something that many of them have been able to take advantage of. And we also have the issue of import duty and VAT, which is a big help, especially for those who are in the agro-processing.
So that's for the labeling and the packaging material.
Absolutely, yes. The labeling and packaging, VAT, and as well as for small machinery as well. Equipment.
You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
Scary. Everything just shaking and shaking and making big creaky noises.
Earthquakes, big and small, take place in the Caribbean at least 10 times a year.
The dishes rattling and falling and breaking. Then Vonnie started to scream.
All I could think to do was shout, "Get outside, get out!"
Earthquakes, hazards. Take control. Reduce your loss. If an earthquake hits, what can you do? Get down. Get under an item of furniture like a table. Hold on and stay there until the quake passes. Find out lots more about earthquakes and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from your National Disaster Office and SEDERA.
Welcome back. Minister for Public Works and the Digital Economy, Honorable Kasani Laville, says major infrastructural developments are carded for this financial year. Senator Laville says the completion of the Rosa Enhancement Project is a priority for government.
This will completely reshape our city, starting with the Botanic Gardens bypass, the 140-meter revetment wall, and Great George Street transformations. These are just in the first phase, Mr. Speaker.
One of the lanes of the Lai River Bridge was destroyed after the passage of Hurricane Maria. This bridge will be rehabilitated in the new financial year at a cost of $14.9 million.
The E.O. Libla Highway is the primary route serving villages from Rosa to the northern villages, Mr. Speaker. The Hillsborough Bridges are two single-lane bridges providing access along the Lai River. The Eastern Bridge was damaged in 2017 by flooding events from Hurricane Maria. Since then, the western section has been used to accommodate traffic in both directions. This is a major cause of conflict and affects serviceability. Due to inherent vulnerabilities, Mr. Speaker, associated with this aged infrastructure, compounded with the increased occurrence and magnitude of flooding events, the ministry is of the view that the damaged structure should be repaired to provide redundancy and restore normalcy in that area. The primary interventions will include reconstruction of the center pier and southern abutment, as well as replacement of the bridge deck.
Retaining walls will also be built in Cabanese in the Roseau Valley area. Minister Laville says this road edge failure poses a risk to road users, and government will rectify this problem very soon.
The Cabanese area has been compromised for a number of years and poses a risk to road users. The alternative route through Wharton Waven is also compromised, hence the need for interventions. The interventions at Cabanese is very critical, as it would significantly improve on our road safety in that general area. The interventions address major road edge failures and collapses. The scope involves the construction of retaining walls, drainage structures, and restoration of the road in this area.
Minister Laville informed that $750,000 is allocated for guardrails and traffic signs to ensure road safety to minimize the number of vehicular accidents on island.
Mr. Speaker, my conscience does not permit me to go to sleep if I have not done my very best. With that being said, I recognize that there are too many accidents on our streets, too many deaths, too many injuries. We must do better as road users and dare an attitude of responsibility, not only for ourselves, but for others. Government must also do the same, Mr. Speaker. So it is for this reason that we have allocated $750,000 towards road safety, Mr. Speaker.
The parliamentary representative for the Castle Bruce constituency has great things in store for her constituency. Honorable Octavia Alfred says the new modern cassava processing plant, which is 85% complete, came at a time when demand for farine and cassava is very high. Honorable Alfred also made mention of other farmers in her constituency.
The 24-strong cassava farmers are very excited about this easy-to-tend crop, and a number of these farmers are now growing sweet cassava, which is becoming a popular staple in our constituency. The bay oil industry in Saint-Sauveur and Petit Soufrière is rapidly growing, and I am well pleased with the number of young people who are becoming involved in this industry. Livestock farmers. We do not have to buy eggs outside of our constituency. The goat rearing business is rapidly expanding in the Castle Bruce constituency. Mr. Speaker, I will have more than 22 goats. The livestock farmers in the area are very eager to expand in pig and cattle rearing. Mr. Speaker, I have some cows too.
Meantime, the Castle Bruce constituency continues to benefit from government's assistance to the fishery sector.
Many fisher folks have received assistance for their boats and motor. Mr. Speaker, high commendations are in order for our fisher folks who continue to supply the constituency with enough fish and still have enough to sell outside of the constituency. Mr. Speaker, I want to pause and say a heartfelt thank you to all the members of the St. David Fisheries Cooperative for your effort in ensuring that we had fish in spite of COVID-19.
In light of sports development, the Castle Bruce playing field will be enhanced with newly installed lights. All schools will benefit from an upgrade of the internet service with Wi-Fi access in all classrooms in an aim to modernize the education system in Dominica.
More than 300 devices will be distributed in the constituency for use by teachers and students. Castle Bruce Secondary will get a resilient, modern building which will house 3 classrooms. This building will also be constructed to accommodate large school activities with prospects for an additional story. Under the BNTF 9, a chicken coop and a slaughterhouse will be constructed at the Castle Bruce Secondary School at the cost of $642,217.90. Also, under the BNTF, 2 greenhouses are expected to be erected at the Castle Bruce Secondary. Saint-Sauveur Primary School will receive their power wash, and Castle Bruce Secondary will be one of the 2 schools at which a satellite classroom will be piloted.
Honorable Alfred also mentions other developments to commence in her constituency.
The Castle Bruce and Saint-Sauveur health centers will be refurbished and upgraded. DOASCO will do a feasibility study to build resilience in the water system in Castle Bruce. The Castle Bruce Youth Center will be rehabilitated. Our youth will be engaged in new programs on the youth skills for economic growth. We encourage our young people with business ideas to come and start a conversation, especially if you have an idea how to add value to our fish and our agriculture produce or other resources that are in their raw state. If you have a stone that you didn't pay nothing for and you can do something with that stone and sell it, preferential treatment will be given to you for your idea. In addition to all the roads we will fix within the community, and we have a wall to put up in Petit Soufrière, I want to talk about the reconstruction works on road from Port Cassé to Petit Soufrière, which will commence later this year. This project will benefit everyone in the constituency. The farmers and landowners whose land have been repossessed, they'll get paid. More people will visit our area after this road is finished. We can get to Rosa faster. We'll save money on transport parts. Mr. Speaker, this project, which is valued at $126.5 million, will benefit the entire Castle Bruce constituency. $47.5 million will be spent in the Castle Bruce constituency.
A regional emergency shelter similar to the recently opened Layu Emergency Shelter is to be constructed in Castle Bruce.
At the cost of $16 million, will begin on the 15th of August. This 5-story building will have all the modern amenities. There are provisions for emergency power and water storage, and the shelter will be modern and fully functional. This is superb news for the Castle Bruce people, the Castle Bruce constituency, that the Labour Party gave us priority. In addition, a mini emergency operations center and warehouse in Castle Bruce is expected to commence this year. It will cost $1.5 million. We decided to make Good Hope a model resource center, and the BNTF will sponsor solar renewable energy, equipment, and computers, air condition, search and rescue equipment, and you heard Ms. Paul presented it in her address. That will cost $172,000.
The people of Castle Bruce constituency remain grateful to the government of Dominica under the leadership of Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit for their hard work and dedication to their constituency.
I forward the messages of gratitude from my people to the Prime Minister so that he can know that the constituents of Castle Bruce appreciate his effort in making life better for them. Everybody in the Castle Bruce constituency received food packages from the government as support in remaining stable while dealing with the effects of COVID-19.
Farmers of the Salisbury constituency continue to benefit greatly from the World Bank project, says Senator Nichols Esprit. The Emergency Agricultural Livelihoods and Climate Resilience Project is a World Bank funded project. It's aimed at assisting farmers and fisherfolk to restore their agriculture and fishing production and systems and adopt climate-smart practices following Hurricane Maria. During his contribution to the 2020-2021 budget debate, Senator Esprit says that over $1 million in cash grants was given to farmers in the constituency.
Immediately after Maria, we distributed cash grants to the farmers of Dominica, and I can say here in this house that the constituency of Salisbury got over $1 million in cash grants from the program. And the figure was $18.9 million. And one constituency, a constituency that did not vote for the Dominica Labour Party, received in excess of $1 million. 209 small farmers at $3,000 and 69 at $10,000.
Senator Esprit says these benefits indicate the work the government has been doing in agriculture.
The program is simple. You have to come, you have to register, you have to show your land tenure, your land ownership, you have to show your sales. Your extension officer has to verify that you're farming or you're about to farm. You register and you benefit. Simple ABC. That is what we're doing for agriculture.
And now your weather updates. A surface to low-level trough is expected to produce scattered showers across parts of the Lesser Antilles, including Dominica, during today. From late afternoon, an increase in shower activity is expected across the southward Windward Islands as Tropical Storm Josephine approaches the leewards. At 5 a.m., Josephine was located near 15.3 north latitude, 53.3 west longitude, or about 345 miles east of Dominica. On its present west and northwesterly track, the center of the system is expected to pass to the north of the Leeward Islands on Saturday. An increase in shower and possible thunderstorm activity is expected across Dominica, mainly from Saturday afternoon into Sunday. Residents should continue to monitor the progress of the system. Moderate seas are expected during the next 24 hours, with waves peaking to 7 feet. An increase in wave height to near 10 feet is projected for Saturday. Small craft operators and sea bathers are advised to be vigilant. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook, YouTube, as well as on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I am Shakira Pear. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.